Hello, my name is Charlene Garcia-Simms, and I'm the Genealogy and Special Collections Librarians here at Rawlings Library. Last month, we had a prelude into mural art by author Angel Vigil, because in the last 15 years, murals have become real popular in Pueblo. As Angel said, each mural tells an important story that takes you right into the mural. Murals were a big part of the Chicano movement in the late 60s and 70s, and they still are today. And this is Hispanic Heritage Month, so this is one of our programs about Hispanic heritage. So thank you and enjoy. Megan?
And I'm Meghan Wilbar, and Charlene and I worked on this together. And this In 2014, Anthony Armijo completed a mural at City Center Drive to commemorate Pueblo's local veterans. This mural is worthy of its own presentation, honoring each person on the wall and to show its transformation. In 2015, after sustaining water damage, the mural underwent a restoration by the artist. He painted over some of the original design and added more faces, specifically faces of the Vietnam War. $3,000 was raised by a local group of veterans to support this restoration and to give us the mural we see today. Of special interest to the library district is an image of Patrick Lucero, for which the Lucero Library on the east side of Pueblo was named. Patrick was one of the casualties of the Vietnam War. We will now move on to Plaza Verde Park for the majority of this presentation, and Steve Lucero, who was an East Side Commission member, will tell us more about this series of murals.
But the murals came about at the direction of the East Side Commission. The East Side Commission was a community organization that came together with a number of people to try to vitalize some more interest in the Chicano culture and a little bit more pride. We did a few things. We did a reunion to start off with, an East Side reunion. We did a Zoot Zoot dance reunion type thing that discussed gangs. We did graffiti ping over graffiti. We also started the Cinco de Mayo parade that went down A Street. We also had a couple of conferences, anti-gang conferences at the Arts Center, bringing people, some from California, all over Colorado that were ex-gang members, and then even a guy from New York. But we had a due purpose when we did this, and basically it was to eradicate some of the graffiti and a lot of gang graffiti that was here at the time, and then to honor the struggle, the Chicano struggle, the culture, and these handball courts were the perfect place to do that. But we were looking for an artist or artists at the time to do that. And in the winter of 2011, while I was at a local bar talking to one of my friends, longtime friend Fred Alcon, who was sitting with Anthony Armijo, we were discussing some of the projects that have been going on, and future projects. This was one of the future projects. Anthony heard what we were discussing and showed a big interest in that and the commitment, and said he'd be willing to help. And so he did. So later we started looking at pictures that I had from the Chicano Park in San Diego, the murals that they had there, and also some old clippings that I had from the early movement. At that time, I had called up Carmen, who's had a history of the clippings of the Chicano movement. She was also involved in the East Side Commission and the movement. And so we met down at Anthony's house, and we picked out, there was dozens of pictures that we were looking at. We picked out a few of them. Anyway, from there in May, the first part of May, Anthony started these murals here. Actually, it took him the whole summer and he did it by himself. The first mural right here is a picture of, if I can pronounce this right, Pueblo, and we'll just call him an Aztec warrior. Now his story is he was in love with a girl, and her father sent him in a battle that he thought this Aztec warrior would never return. It was against all odds. Again, the struggle. Well, after a while, the father decided to get some suitors for his daughter, and his daughter didn't agree with that because she loved this gentleman here. So she stabbed herself. She got a dagger and stabbed herself. So he ended up coming back victorious, survived, and found out that his beloved had killed herself. So he picked her up and he carried her to the top of the mountain, thinking that the cold would wake her up. And of course, you know, it began to snow. Legend has it that God covered them with snow and he froze to death along with her. Legend has it, a mountain named for her, the sleeping woman, that looks like her from a distance. And then the next one was a volcano, which was a depiction of him. The next mural right here to the left is a picture of the walkout. The walkout happened at Cinco de Mayo, 1970. It was a school walkout, mainly by Centennial kids, but there were students from all over the city that came to join us. Hundreds of people showed up that day as we walked out at 10 o'clock. This was to lend awareness to the city, be status quo or lay silent to what they were being taught. They wanted Chicano educators, Chicano administrators, Chicanos on the school board, Chicanos who could teach Chicano studies and teach their history, not just history that had been portrayed to them over the years. Give them credit for things that they did because they contributed a lot to this country. And again, that kind of sums that up right there. We marched down Santa Fe Street that day, and I think a lot of people heard that. The one on the right here is was taken at September the 16th at what we called at that time Zapata Park, which is Bradford Park, 1972. The picture of the Chicanos right there. And without them, the movement would have never been complete. But the woman of the movement always played a very vital part in the movement, and many times not recognized. They too had their own struggle, and if it wasn't for them, like I said, the movement wouldn't be complete. You know, I met Anthony several years ago, and he was such a kind individual, very humble, always willing to help. Never had anything bad to say about anybody, but he always did good work, and he always thought about other people. In fact, the book that I was part of called the Chicano Gangs of the Southwest, which is at the library. In the back of that book, the individual that put that together also took a picture of this and presented that in the back of the book. So it's like I say, Anthony, you know, we appreciate all the work that you've done, the life you lived, the kindness. God bless you. Rest in peace.
Here with one of the other murals at this park, and I'm going to turn it over to Steve, and he's going to be talking about Jorge Gonzalez and Cesar Chavez. Take it away, Steve.
Jorge Gonzalez, he was our own individual that started the Crusade for Justice. Before that, he was a politician, he was a boxer, a community individual, and got tired of the status quo regarding politics. And so he pretty much started the movement here in Colorado regarding Chicano rights, civil rights, that kind of thing. So we thought it would be real important for him to be portrayed up here, along with Cesar Chavez and, of course, the pyramid, climbing the pyramid. But anyway, Corky led a lot of young kids to get away from gangs and come together in unity to try to resolve their problems and think politically in a world full of negative politics, almost like it is today. And then, of course, most people know about Cesar Chavez and the farm movement, along with Dolores Huertas back there now. Cesar Chavez was also a zoot suiter, worked in the farm, seen all the negativity and the struggles that were portrayed during that time, that were real life things. And it took him many years. He was known as a nonviolent, kind of like a Martin Luther King individual with strong principles, and led thousands of people in the civil rights movement to a better place, kind of what we have right now in regards to pay and the farm workers and what they can get, that kind of thing.
What's the reaction been to the murals?
Well, initially when Anthony started this in May of 2012, he brought his scaffolds over, and as people drove by, he would get fists, he would get right on, Chicano power, like a lot of encouragement from the neighborhood. Some people would even stop by and offer help, whatever they could do. And, even some people came by to give him some money because they enjoyed it. This right here has been probably the most recognized mural in southern Colorado as far as Chicanos go. People come here for weddings. I've seen wedding pictures here. I've seen car clubs. I've seen family reunions. Individuals like us taking pictures with that backdrop. In the past, we've had students from Risley come over to teach them a little bit, not only about the history of a little bit about the East Side, but their involvement in the Chicano movement and what it means to them and what it means to all of us. That the struggle continues. It's up to the younger generation to try to carry that on.
Thank you so much. And I'm sad to report that Anthony passed away in July, and he has so many other murals in town that we're also going to focus on. But this was his first mural, the one that we just saw earlier, right?
Yeah, this was his first mural, and actually began his legacy in murals. And from there, he went on to do the one in the veterans that you guys will probably see, and several other ones. All of them murals that Anthony did create fond and solid memories of days gone by and people that were beloved in this city and the struggle of the city. Old musicians, people that have died through gang violence, people that we look up to that have set the stage for a better America, a better Chicano.
Thank you, Steve. And now we are going to move on to the mural of musicians located at the Clamshell Restaurant on the wall located on Northern and Route. Again, as with the Veterans mural, this mural is worthy of a presentation of its own. You can see the names of the musicians. Some are legends from way back and are no longer with us. Others are still going strong. When Anthony was starting this mural, he came to our Special Collections department to get copies of pictures of the trolleys that once ran in Pueblo, because the owner of the clamshell, Steve Martinez, wanted to be in a trolley waving his hat. Anthony was able to fulfill Steve's wish. The last mural on the tour is painted on the side of the downtown bar adjacent to the Bingo Burger parking lot on Main and Central Plaza. This mural shows Anthony's lighter side, with mostly comedians from today and the past. Thank you for joining us, and due to human error, the introduction was not what I had wanted it to be. So I wanted to clarify and just say a few things that were missed ahead of time. This program was really dedicated to Anthony Armijo, and kind of a tribute to the work that he did around town. There was, as you can see, there were many murals that he did that really reflect our community. So we wanted to thank Anthony Armijo and Steve Lucero. Anthony, of course, as you heard in the video, passed away this past July. And we also wanted to mention too, with you probably saw our upcoming events, but we have our All Pueblo Reads that's coming up. And with the Veterans Wall, we wanted to mention that our book for the month, or for All Pueblo Reads, is The Things I Carried by Tim O'Brien. And that's a really strong piece of literature that's won Pulitzer Prize and really embodies the Vietnam War. I'm going to turn it over to Charlene, who has a few more things to say. And thank you for sticking with us.
Thanks again for joining us. Anthony was a personal friend of mine, and I so admired all his works. There are other murals in town, and we have information on them in our special collections department, because we have a whole section of visual artists of Pueblo. Some are well known, and some are just jewels, that may not be as well known. So come to our department and let us show off that part of our collection. I'd like to add that Meghan has been doing several art walks throughout the city and can be seen on other recorded virtual programs. So I'm going to turn this back to Meghan.
I actually don't have anything else to say. So thank you for joining us, and so the rest of our virtual programming.